Hello,
Hello.
welcome Alex. Welcome everybody who's watching with us today. We're here to hear about your journey, Alex, with the Mace Energy Method, which, yes, we've been in together for what seems like ages because obviously you were part of the journey from when I first began and
Yeah.
was talking about it and getting into training. And now here we are with you having gone through your own foundation process and additional sessions and now into your own training. So, yeah, really looking forward to hearing about your experience, Alex, so that others can listen and see if their experience resonates and get any top tips or hints from you about the whole
Yeah.
thing. So, take us right back to the beginning then. When you first came for your first foundation session, what
Yeah.
brought you to that? What was it that was happening in your life that you wanted to change?
So I came out of curiosity because you well know that you and I have been working together for quite some time on all sorts of things that are related to enlightenment. So we've been having a look at energy clearing and all the other systems of enlightenment. And I have a business myself, which sort of looks at clearing a few things for people anyway. And in the middle of all that, when I was your client, all of a sudden you found Mace. And all of a sudden you lit up and it was just Mace. Mace is the thing. Mace is amazing. Mace is wonderful. And my cynical head went, yeah. And where have I heard this before? Because in the world where I work, there's quite a lot of things that come around, like we've reinvented the wheel. And you pay an awful lot of money and find, oh, you knew it all along. And of course, instant cynicism went, yeah, all right. So there's you extolling the virtue of it. And then we kind of challenged each other in a way. I think I said something about it, you said something back. But it struck a chord, and your enthusiasm for it, because you were so enthusiastic. And I'm like, really, this is good. And then I swallowed my ego, I swallowed my pride, and I thought, you know what? She's never let me down yet. She's so spot on. She believes it. And the curiosity had got the better of me. And I thought, right, that's it. I'm signing up. And I think I was probably one of your first clients, I think, at the process. And actually I have the date bookmarked in my diary. And it's the 3rd of October. Okay. Because everything changed then. So we've got a sort of before Mace, which was perfectly okay. I was quite a normal person, had the usual stresses, anxieties, well, as normal as you can get. As you know, the kind of thoughts and feelings that everybody else had. I'd already done an awful lot of work with you, so already feeling pretty nice about things and thinking, no, I don't have that much to clear. I'm just curious. And then we had our foundation sessions. And I think I noticed it particularly after session 2, but it really started to move in the first one. Things were very, very different. And sort of a spoiler alert, I ended session 2 just high. I can't find another way for it. It was like I was somewhere up here, like sort of a floating feeling. I thought, well, that is special. That is different. Nothing I have ever done, none of the modalities I have ever done gets anywhere close to that in my own work. I mean, I was very proud of what I did, very pleased with what I did, things I've been developing over years and years and years and years. And I thought, yeah, they leave happy, but they don't leave up here. And I thought, right, okay, this is it. This really is brilliant. And then for a little while, there was absolutely nothing that bothered me. But then what had cleared allowed a space for other things to come in. And I knew this was going to be something that I wanted to work through. So that's why you and I, Helen, have now had quite a lot of sessions where we've taken on just different things as they have arisen. And some of these topics have been really big, like sort of profound fundamental shifts. And we've talked about a couple of those. And some of them have just been like little small niggly bits that I've noticed on the process. But the me who is here now, in terms of what is experienced on the inside, is wildly different from the me that was present before. Not because anything particularly in life has changed. I mean, I still do the same job. All the routines are the same. I still do everything I did. but the whole way of seeing it and the whole way of feeling it and the whole way of experiencing it is completely different, and different being better. I should clarify. Good different. Yeah. So much more.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. What a great overview of the shift.
Yeah.
Nothing needs to change, and yet everything's different because of how you feel inside. And that just absolutely sums up exactly what we're doing. None of us have ever really been bothered about what's happening. What
Yeah.
we've been bothered about is how we've been feeling. And as we feel better, then we stop being upset by things or people in the world, which doesn't mean we become passive.
No.
We still have preferences, we still make choices, we still say yes and no,
Yeah.
but it's not from that place of reaction. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
So, Alex, could you tell us some of the things? And I think I really love how you said as well, like first of all, that yeah, I guess that big sweep you do in the foundation process, and the lightness, the spaciousness, the highness you felt at the back of that, and then how that often does clear the space so that you can then see some other bits and pieces that were just not visible before. Can you give like an idea, a flavor of the kind of thing that you have brought to sessions? Because it really helps people to, I guess, just check for themselves. You know, people will say to me, "Oh, you shared that thing on that video that you took to a session,"
Yeah.
and "Oh, I have that too, so I'm going to go to a session as well." So yeah, tell us the kind
Yeah.
of stuff.
So I'd noticed, and from the work that you and I had done previously, one of my big ones, it was a fear of being alone, abandoned on my own, which I think is quite a common theme that people do have. But where it was impacting me was I thought my behaviour was a bit needy, then I was overthinking neediness, a sense of needing to control things and people around me, and those kind of patterns. That was one particular one. And when that one shifted, that felt like a really big lifting of a something. And then what that led to, first of all, the needy patterns got, the thoughts weren't there, the mind was quieter, the I need to control this, and all the what if thoughts that people so typically have, and I had, they just came down, just much lower in their volume. And that gave space to sort of then see where I was being triggered. So rather than all the time, because when something's constant, you just don't notice it's there. It's a bit like having magnolia paint on your walls. You think there's no colour on them. You think, oh, just a wall, right? It's not just a wall, it's got a paint on it, and it's a colour, and that colour is magnolia. You just, because it's so plain and you're so used to it, you can't realise it's there. And all of a sudden it wasn't there. And the result was, when something then made a reaction in me, I was able to spot it, and I could identify it. I could go, oh, that's happened, and that's caused this. And that's when I would come back to you with something. That's made a huge shift. But what clearing it also revealed was a belief I hadn't realized I had. And that was, I am unattractive. And what had dawned on me was that so much of my behavior, so much of my patterns in a day, time spent on checking mirrors, you know, making sure the makeup's right, you know, all of that, overthinking in relation to all these other people. I found that, and you and I, we'd pinpointed a moment. I think I went back to being suddenly 15 years old, and a boy who I'd asked out. I told all my friends, oh, I'm going to ask him out, and he laughed in my face and he said, ugh, like, oh. And clearly in that moment, this, what we'll call a negative identity, got formed that said, I am unattractive. And you don't realize you've suddenly been hit by something. It just becomes your reality from that moment on. And that was quite some time ago now, and that's a long time to have that in your system. And then the first experience I realized where that had cleared, I'd gone dancing that evening. I danced Argentine tango, very badly I might add, but I go along anyway. And all the time previously, there would have been a thought saying, oh, he'll never ask me to dance, and he'll never ask me to dance, and I'm not this and I'm not that. And I'd have to check the mirror a couple of times. And it just wasn't there. People were just
Mm.
people. You know, not for me to be judged against or judge myself against in any way. And what got really interesting with that was when I started to look back at a revision, my history had changed. So no longer was I thinking about people in relation to, oh, well, he was so good looking at school, he would never have liked me, or, oh, wow, he was great. But of course, he would never have picked me. Suddenly that just wasn't a thing. It wasn't a
Wow.
thing. And madly, all the pictures I have of myself, all of that has gone as well. I can just look at me as a younger person and not experience any reaction to it at all, apart from, oh, it's you, as opposed to, oh, it's you, and look at your terrible hair.
Mm.
or whatever it was going to be, you know, oh, you've got a spot. All of that had vanished. And I think the real beauty of this is in the noticing, because not only does it change how you are in the present, but it also changes everything as you then look back into it.
Mm.
It was so interesting. That was one. That, the stripping away of that led to something deeper about self-worth in general. When that got shifted, that was another huge one. And I could be so much more present in now, in the immediacy of now, and all of the overthinking about me in relation to other people and how I was appearing, how I was coming across. That just went as well. I can't tell you how big this is in a world where looks are everything and image is everything, and how fat you are, how thin you are, all of that. And for the first time in my whole life, it's just not a thing. I just am. Now, yeah, I've got makeup on today, you know, I am on video. And these things don't change. You know, you still want to look presentable. You still want to appear like a, you know, like a nice version of you, and for professional reasons, but the actual driver that's making me do it, not there at all, gone. And
Mm.
that is my, the way I see Mace and what it has done. It has unlocked something which nothing else I can think of has ever come close to unlocking.
Yeah, wow. Incredible, Alex. So I think it's fair to say then that cynicism you have had at the very
Oh yeah.
beginning was was fair enough. It was fair enough given the context you come from. But fair to say it was unfounded.
Completely unfounded. Thank God I haven't, curiosity can outweigh ego at least.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Best thing
Absolutely.
ever. Best thing ever.
Yeah, wow. Really incredible. It's and it has been incredible to be on the journey with you. It's lovely hearing it all back. I'm getting chills again at certain points when it's like, oh my goodness, yes. And
Yeah.
and and I think it's one of those things you can't I hear you describing this kind of like this absence of magnolia paint. It's like you can't
Yeah.
know the absence until
Yes.
it's gone. And
Yes.
the equivalent of, with the
Yeah.
closest equivalent I can think that most people will understand is when you have COVID and you
Mm.
can't imagine not having taste and smell until they've gone. And then it's
Yeah.
like, oh, that's what it's like not having taste and smell. So it's kind
Yeah.
of the same thing, isn't it? That you don't even realize the impact these things are having because we have carried them for so long.
Yes.
Or, yeah, they've been part
Yeah.
of our system, activated in our system for so long that you can't imagine not having them until they're gone. And then it's like,
Yes.
oh, oh wow, I was actually carrying a lot of emotional baggage around.
Exactly that. And in my world, people will come and see me because they've got a very acute problem. So they're always
Mm.
dealing with something that's very real, very present, something, usually anxiety, they can feel very physically in that moment. But what about everybody else who's carrying stuff around that's just not necessarily being activated? And they'll go, oh yeah, I'm fine, in the way that we all say, yeah, we're fine. But if you were to really get into it, you will see there is so much more to life than just having that experience, because everybody's got a something.
Mm.
Everybody.
Mm.
And the point, and I think the point with Mace is, you don't choose the experiences that you have, you just get upset. You know, something will come along and it will cause an upset, something you wouldn't choose for yourself. And you don't realize the havoc that can wreak in a system, how it just pervades, like, you know, Japanese knotweed just spreads through you with
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
no idea of what you've just experienced. And people who will come and see me say, yeah, well, I got over that years ago. And you look at them and you think, yes, but it's completely present in how you view everything now. And I think that that's where Mace absolutely comes into its own, because it goes right in for the root of it. It's not just spraying it with weed killer. It's like gone right out.
Yeah. Yeah,
And that's
absolutely.
why it's so brilliant.
Yeah, which is probably one of the main reasons you saw me so excited when I first found it, given my whole endeavor since starting my business has been
Yeah.
root
And
cause, root
how you
cause,
did.
root cause, going yeah,
Yeah.
further and further. Amazing. So, given all of your experience then, Alex, what kind of top tips, recommendations, what would you
Yeah.
say to somebody who's perhaps just starting out thinking about having foundation sessions?
Well, obviously I would say go for it. But one of the challenges I found was, I suppose, in the concept of image. And I think this is purely a linguistic thing that we have in English. So when we talk about an image, we think about the object of an image, you know, the content of it. So like if I were to say tiger right now, and you're picturing a tiger, we have that concept, don't we, of that's your image. And for probably the first couple of iterations in our foundation session, I thought that's what we were doing, because that's really just what I'm bringing with my preconceived idea of image. But I discover that I don't see things particularly clearly. But the moment you explained it, so I could just get the whole of the picture, and whatever is present is it. Now, me, for example, I tend to see colour, fuzz, or an energy much more than I would get a particular object to the image. And I would say just trust that.
Mm.
Trust the instructions completely, and don't try to do anything. So relax, watch, and the thing will take care of itself. So trust in the practitioner, trust Helen, and just go with it that way. Also, be prepared to feel things, because you can't do this without having a good old feel, but by God, you'll feel better afterwards. And make a list. Make a list. So come with the things that you know about, and that will reveal what else is present there that needs looking at. But yeah, they would be my tips. An image is everything, included in the mind space. Bring your list, probably bring tissues, and you'll be good to go.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I love that. And I really also your other point you made about trust the process.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
there is a set process for a reason because it
yeah,
has been tried and tested.
yeah,
And it is a sequence of very simple instructions and very simple questions when they're just followed. And as you say, when you just relax
yeah,
and trust it. Yeah. And me too on the images. Like I literally just get at most I'll get a shape, like a
yeah,
triangle or a circle or a square.
yeah,
But so often it's just a colour, a
yeah,
fuzzy edged colour. Um, and it's probably the most common conversation I have with people when they're concerned, oh, I don't know if I'm getting an image, but there is something there, and
yeah,
that's it, and that's all you need.
yeah,
And then the odd person will have, not odd as in unusual,
yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
Some people will
Right.
have
Yes.
a scene from their life or
Yeah,
people, fine, that's totally
yeah,
fine. But yeah, all these, it doesn't matter what it looks like fundamentally. We're always interested in its size. And as you said, it takes
yeah.
care of itself when you follow the process. Yeah.
Yes, completely trust this. It's not something for your mind to start unpicking. Turn up, close your eyes, feel, do. And I can't distill it more simply than that. But the results are amazing, and you'll get out your own way, and the results will be even better.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, and you are a testament to that, absolutely. And you've been, I guess, like I was, where I came out of my foundation process and was straight into sessions because I went straight into training, which involves continuing sessions. But you
Yeah,
did the same. You had your foundation process and then you continued coming and having that dedication and commitment. And to me, it is the evidence that when we do commit and we say, well, actually, there's this and there's this and there's this, and keep going, then yeah, we get these incredible results of that inner experience you've got now with feeling okay with what's happening in the world fundamentally because you feel okay with yourself, which is all that matters.
yes. It's like there are no problems. And if something were to cross my path, well, I just take care of it. And I used to look at my list of clients that I would have, and I'd think, oh God, I'm never going to manage that. That's too hard. Oh, he's difficult. And there's just no sense of that. I just turn up, get my notebook out, and away we work.
Mm.
And people will say to me, yeah, but don't you have stuff in your head? And I'll go, no, actually, it's really quiet. The biggest thing that concerns me is what's for tea. You know, what am I having for dinner? Have I got something in the fridge tonight? because there really is very little that needs mulling over. There's very little that's driving a whole load of ponderous thoughts. You know, so my brain can just get on with dealing with what is required, as opposed to living in a state of nervous, agitated uncertainty that's trying to make me solve a problem all the time.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's a wonderful way to be. But again, it's very hard to describe that until you've experienced it for yourself. The idea that you could have a very quiet mind without meditating, without having to go on retreat after retreat after retreat, or become a Buddhist. None of that is ultimately necessary. It's all there. It's all yours for the having.
Yeah, what a lovely real experience of what John Mace described as the shift from inflowing, when we're like all our attention's on the inside. Oh, but this and this and this and what if, and analyzing and figuring out, and vigilance about what if I say that, what if they say that, into outflowing, where when the negative identities disappear, then we stop needing to have all that internal attention, and we can start flowing outward into the world, which is how we're designed, into, oh,
Yeah.
here's a thing to do, here's a person to talk to, here's a client to work with. Yeah, very cool. And let me just check, Alex, because I feel like that could perhaps sound for some people like, oh, that sounds really boring and neutral, like you're just
Oh,
going,
no.
oh, tick, job done, oh, tick, job done. Yep, next, okay. You know, what's it feel like?
It feels like anything is possible. So it's got a real limitlessness to it, so that every single new prospect that you come across has a bit of an excitement to it, a relishing into the joy and the experience and the doing of it. And I found I'm able to do so many more things that were always on my wish list of things I would love to do, if only this, if only that. And now I'm doing them. So I said I go tango dancing. I've also taken up ballroom and Latin. And you can just be in a flow state with it all. You're not going, oh God, what if I get it wrong? Oh no, what do I look like? You're just fully engaged in the being of it, in the doing of it, in the joy of it. And that's really what transpires across all of life. All of it is an experience to be had, to be have fun with, to enjoy. And then next, oh, what's next? Oh, that's good too. So it's not flat, it's anything but flat. It's doing everything you could ever want to do without any internal restriction on doing it. And what could be nicer than that?
Oh, wow, beautifully said. Absolutely beautifully said. Amazing, Alex. And I'm so excited that you're now training to be a practitioner as well. So we'll soon have you helping more people realize this beauty of who they really are, and absolutely getting fully into life, living their lives, outflowing in the world. Wonderful. So, Alex, any last thoughts, tips, anything else you'd like to say before we close?
I would say if you're pondering, book with Helen. If you've got even the smallest bit of curiosity, do it. This really will change your life. This is the route I found, is the route Helen found. Go for it. Just go for it. That's all I'll say.
Amazing. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Alex. Wonderful to spend time with you today.
Always
See
a
you very
pleasure.
soon.